In this week's episode of the Change Guru podcast, I share with you an absolute attitude lifesaver. No matter what kind of situation you're in right now, whether you're going through a boring patch or a super stressful patch, just a normal everyday patch, this attitude is a keeper for a lifetime. Enjoy the podcast. The Change Guru podcast is brought to you by my books, Be Your Own Change Guru and How to Find Your Purpose After 40. They're available on Amazon, and if you like the show, buying a book is an awesome way to show your support for what I'm doing. And now, here's the podcast.
The Change Guru. Listen up. You are the guru of your own midlife change. Gotta take it and own it. Don't be restricted by age. What's the number anyway? Live your dreams, don't hesitate. You're the change guru. You're the change guru. This is the time to step up, make your dreams come true. Whatever the change, it all starts with you. Whether it's life's purpose, relationships or career. Whatever the change, it's time to get what you want, what you want, what you really, really want. Make a change in midlife and still look really hot. Listen here, don't have fear. You're the master of your fate. You're the woman of the year. I mean it. Change your life forever. I mean it. It's not too late, no never. I said I mean it. Change your life forever. I mean it. It's not too late, no never, ever. Yeah. The Change Guru. All starts with you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to TCG episode number 39. Oh my God, it's Sue Paget. And Change Guru is a place where we have a talk about all things from the lens of mature grown-ups, people. Talking about all the things that probably have affected us our whole lives, but now we're big girls and big gentlemen, and we are going to figure out how to do things in a intelligent manner that also taps into our intuition, our souls, our spirituality, the people around us, just all the things we need to do to live our best life once and for all. Before I get to today's podcast, which I think is a really important one, by the way, I'll just do a little bit of business. If you are not familiar with my weekly vlogs, come on over to YouTube at Susan Paget TV. I do a weekly video on something midlife. Today I punched out a bunch of videos. I think I did five videos, one after the other. One of them I had me in my bikini in my kitchen, which is my, in quotes, studio. Don't ask, you'll find out. So look out for me in a bikini coming to you soon. So come over to subscribe to my YouTube channel for a dose of that. What else? Oh, sign up for my newsletter. Come on over to changeguru.net. Still slowly but surely, I'm fixing up my website if you're listening in real time. I think it's going to be cool. I'm liking it already. It's feeling like a better experience. I'm not all the way there. It's just slowly for me, but I'll get there eventually, and I'm liking it. So come on over to changeguru.net, fill out the little form that pops up, and you can get on my newsletter list. People on my newsletter list get free little gifts, you get little inspirations, get all kinds of goodies from me if you belong. So come on and sign up over there. Okay, I think that's it for now. I'll tell you a little bit about my day today. But today was kind of opposite day for me. I usually try to start off my day with my meditation practice, yoga, go for a walk, try to get all that stuff out of the way. But it just felt so good to be in bed. It was a kind of a rainy day down here in Sydney. It felt so good to be in bed. And I just figured, look, I've got a long day. I'll get to all that kind of stuff, but I just felt like reading. So I'm reading Wonderful Tonight, I think it's called. Let me look at it. It is the Wonderful Tonight. It's the autobiography of Patty Boyd, her memoir. She was the wife of George Harrison and Eric Clapton. And it's really interesting because it tells a story of a rock and roll wife of these two legendary musicians, but also she was from a time where women were, still had to kind of stand by your man, and combine that with, what happens in the rock and roll lifestyle. And both George Harrison and Eric Clapton really had some serious demons going on, and so her from her end, hearing her story, she definitely, had a codependency with these guys and an enabler, as all of the handlers around them were. But also, she's the one that was the subject of the song, Something in the Way She Moves, and You Look Wonderful Tonight, and Layla. So these classic songs were written about her. So she must have been some type of enchantress. So I just felt like sitting and reading with Patty this morning, and I did that, and then slowly got up and then started to work on my videos. But I didn't start my yoga practice and my meditation stuff until probably like 3 o'clock this afternoon. And then around 5 o'clock, I was like, oh, I got to get out and go for a walk. It was just one of those days. So I go outside, and it was so magical. It's turning into winter here, but it was one of those days where it's still kind of warm here in Sydney, Australia, at the beach. And the sky was silver. There's definitely a storm that's going to happen. The humidity's pretty high. The sky was silver, and the ocean was silver too, so you really couldn't see very much of a difference on the horizon. And the air was so salty that when you open your mouth, just all of a sudden, all this salt kind of flavoring came in. It was just, it was like a bathtub out there, just with little waves. It was just spectacular. So I'm so glad I went out for my walk, and then when I came back, I just felt like, oh, I really want to lay this podcast down while some of the things that I want to talk about are fresh in my head. If you're listening to me in real time, I'm probably arriving in Los Angeles right now. I'm heading back to my original home to go do my tour of duty with my family and do a little bit of work. I'm excited because I'm going to see my youngest daughter, Presley, who is an artist in Chicago. She has a show happening the week that I'm there. So I'm really super excited. I'll try to bang out some, at least a podcast or two, maybe some videos from LA. But if you want to see and hear any little bits of some road stories or whatever, be sure to sign up on my Facebook page at facebook.com/thechangeguru.net, because I put little bits of my travels on there as well. So I recently returned from Hobart, Tasmania, which is an island state below the mainland of Australia. It's only like an hour plane flight away. It's where my mother-in-law, Leonie, and her husband, Calvin, live. And if you've listened to some of my podcasts, you know that Leonie has Alzheimer's. And my husband, Dale, and I have been kind of telling her story in a couple podcasts. And I'll put links to those podcasts in the show notes for this episode. But we were down there to help her get settled into a nursing home. And it was this whole thing with Leonie and Alzheimer's has been such an interesting experience. And in fact, one that's in a lot of ways has changed my mind about the way that we should be looking at this time of lives for our elderly parents and even for ourselves. I can't help when I'm with Leonie, who's only 20-ish years older than I am, to wonder, where will I be in 20 years? This is not in my plan. I feel like, I've said it a million times before, I feel like I'm going to easily live till 100, and I'm going to be happy, healthy, dead. There's not going to be an in-between for me. I really feel that. That's my plan. That's what I tell my cells and everything. But these things are in the lap of the gods, and I just don't know. And you'd be a fool not to go, wow, what will this be like for us? I think there's a lot of lifestyle differences and a lot of ways that we look at death. I think about death a lot, not from a morbid point of view, but from from my spiritual practice. I think about it. My own spiritual practice. I have no religion. I just have the way I look at spirituality. So I think about death. I think about life, how I want to live every single day. And the thing that I want to convey in this podcast is one aspect of life that I think is going to save our lives. I think it's one of those things that if we can really tap into it every single day, regardless of where we are, in what chapter of life we're at or what our circumstances are, regardless of whether we are a groovy 100-year-old, climbing hills in Greece and drinking wine at night, or if we're under the care in a nursing home, is the attitude that will save our lives from this point on is the attitude of wonder. Wonder's a really interesting thing, and I thought about it a lot at the nursing home over this week, because you don't really associate wonder and joy and amazement of life at this end stage of life or under these kind of circumstances. We don't. We think of nursing homes as places that smell like pee, places where the staff just, doesn't care, where people are in diapers and stare off into space and are dirty and eat slop, and it's dismal and all of those dark things. That's how we kind of look at these years. But one thing that Dale and I are choosing to do, and we didn't purposely choose it. It's just because this is kind of how we live our life, and it's just that this time we are going to enjoy this time with Leonie and Kelvin, and we're going to do whatever we can to support them, that this is a joyous time. And not only for them, but to support the staff that works for them. Everyone that's involved with Leonie's care, we are trying to come from it from a place of wonder. It's a learning experience. It's fascinating. It taps all of your buttons, but not only the ones that we think about naturally when we think about the situation of sadness. It taps my spirituality buttons. It taps my how precious is life buttons. It taps my love buttons. How much I really love this woman, and I love the journey that I've been on with her as my mother-in-law all these 30 or so years. So that's Dale's and my, sorry if there's grammar weirdness here, but that's our attitude during this time. This is going to be a time of wonder and amazement, and this is a good time. Wonder is actually a very hidden aspect of the human psyche. My son is a news producer, an online news producer, and his responsibility is to make sure ratings are really ratings are really good, so he knows what rates and what doesn't rate. And obviously things like breaking news rates and probably girls in bikinis rate. But what especially rates online is wonder. Is a new planet discovered, or a miracle that's happened, or something amazing that's gone on with the weather. I'm going to sneeze, excuse me just a sec. Achoo! Squeeze me. So that sense of wonder is something that we have an instinct need to pursue and to see. And I always think that, wow, even in the most mundane circumstances of our lives, getting up, getting showered, going to work, being in traffic, being at the water cooler, going to the cafeteria, driving the kids' mom's taxi, whatever the thing is, whatever our normal day is, when you think about it it's amazing that we're living this life. It's amazing that we're having this experience. If you look at it from a sense of wonder, it flips everything on its ear. We're not brought up to believe that things can have a sense of wonder or that life is amazing. It's definitely a skill that we need to learn how to do, but I see now as good a time as any to start looking at life that way. And you only have to look at Facebook or Instagram to see the kind of art that people post. It's always about something motivational and uplifting, but it's only lip service if we just look at it online or on our phone and go, today's an amazing day. this is our time to actually start living it. And I think what happens is when you start living it and it's a real part of your life, when a circumstance happens, like a parent has to go into a nursing home or you have a situation that you never expected, you can kind of access this place of wonder, of life being full of surprises and full of little miracles all the time. You naturally go that way because it's a practice that you've been doing all the time. So with all of that in mind, I want to share some ways, if you're dealing with aging parents, I want to share with you 3 things that kind of go with the idea, the attitude of having a sense of wonder, and how you can apply those to the care that you're going to give your parent, to your attitude when you're in a nursing home. And I think that in itself is going to spread to your family member. It's going to spread to other family members who are in the same situation, and to the staff as well. And what I really think that is so important is that if you can kind of instill these practices of wonder, appreciating each day, especially in the nursing home situation, that's going to rub off, because these concepts are completely contradictory to the way most of us have been raised to think about nursing homes. For me, though, they are going to be my linchpin of how I approach these years through the nursing home looking glass. So speaking of years, the first way that we want to come with a sense of wonder is to consider time. You really have 2 choices when it comes to dealing with a parent or of someone, a loved one in a nursing home. And it's to look at this as a bad thing or to look at this as a positive and make the best of it. And perhaps this would not be so much of a decision if not for the fact that this could go on for years. Leonie's on a lot of drugs that could keep her alive for a long time, and most elderly people are on a shitload of drugs that are keeping their hearts fine, that are keeping their diabetes in order, that are probably keeping their bones healthy. In one way, it's amazing. In another way, it's kind of a little bit against the body's natural inclination. This way about it, when I think about this for myself, I don't know if this would be a choice that I'd want to make. But I don't know. I think that the pull to survive and to live is so strong that sometimes, I don't know what decision I'd make in that circumstance. But that's the fact. This could go on for years. So I choose to come at this with a sense of wonder and amazement, and making every day that I'm in there good, making sure that Kelvin, her husband, knows that this is a good time for him. Just because this has happened, even though it's a grieving period and it's going to be an adjustment, this should be a good time in his life. When he goes to see Leonie, it should be a good time for them. It's adjustment, it's new, but this should be a good time. So it's a matter of going, okay, this could be going on for a long time, so I'm going to respect the situation by figuring out every single way to have a massive attitude adjustment, an attitude of wonder. The second thing that's really important when you're coming at it with the attitude of wonder is respect. A respect for the actual person involved. I think this is really important. If I go into a nursing home and I'm crying and I'm upset every time I go in there, in a weird way, it's disrespecting the staff, it's disrespecting Leonie, it's disrespecting the human experience. So I like the idea of applying a bit of a holiness to this, that this is like remember my favorite comedian, Duncan Trussell, describes hospitals, and I guess it's kind of the same way with the nursing home, but he describes hospitals as kind of a place of angels and demons. They're like these really crazy netherworlds of just all these different spiritual entities around, because life is so fragile and potent. And that's how I really like to see this situation. We have amazing staff looking after Leonie. And I also feel like even my dad was in a nursing home for a little bit, like a respite care. And I sometimes think that the attitude that you have, there might be staff members who are very average, not great at all. And then there are always some angels doing this kind of work. And I just kind of seek out the angels. And I think if you're coming from a soul attitude, from a spiritual attitude, those angels will also find you. So I feel it's important to honor the staff when you're there. You know, we wrote them some little notes, brought them some cookies, we'll call them. You know, it's just, it's developing a relationship and a caring feeling for the people that are looking after, but also just having that kind of respect of, this is a spiritual situation. These are all people that are in a stage of their lives where they need this kind of care. So I'm going to look at every single person on a soul level. A while back, I did a video where it's called it's mirror work. It's Louise Hay kind of made it famous, and it's where you literally look in a mirror and you tell yourself you love yourself. And when I do that, I'm not looking so much at, you know, the lines in my skin or the wires of gray in my hair or any of the imperfections. I'm looking myself straight down the barrel of my eyes, and I'm looking into my soul and telling my soul, you know, I love you, you're beautiful, I'm seeing your soul. And that's how I look at the people that live at the nursing home, the residents in the nursing home, even if they get no reaction, give no reaction to me, I'm looking at them on a soul level. We're stripped away from all of our physicalness, you know, that's all we are. We're all souls. So I'm just looking at everyone, even if they can't speak, I say hello to them, smile at them, you know, just making contact. So it's a really awesome spiritual lesson to have this kind of respect feeling. And again, it's really about keeping that attitude of wonder, amazement. Isn't this amazing? And then the third thing is it's an ego smash. I mentioned it on my Facebook page that there's certain things that happen when you're dealing with someone that has Alzheimer's, where you have to just completely let go of your ego. Dale and I are going to we have a new podcast that, that's going to be an updated version of of Leonie's time with Alzheimer's. But that's one thing that really stands out to me is you can't have the attitude of being really freaked out if someone doesn't remember you. That's your ego talking. That's the ego part of you. The person not remembering you isn't bothering them. And nothing's changed about their soul, their inner pilot light. It's just, you know, a brain deterioration. So you have to, or I have to, come at it from a point of, this is me learning how to dissolve my ego. It doesn't matter if Leonie doesn't know who I am. It doesn't matter if I can't hug her goodbye because it stresses her out. I'll say hello to her the next time, and it'll be just as though she's didn't even know I was gone. So this is a massive ego smash, and it flows on in a lot of ways. Some people get really upset if, you know, their family member has to wear diapers or has to wear a bib and, you know, eat certain types of food, or if they are rambling or staring into space all day. And one thing that I think my yoga practice and meditation has helped me a lot is the concept of learning how to not be attached to some of the earthly things that we have to do, whether it's, having to wear a bib so you don't dribble all over yourself, or having to have your diaper changed, or even being able to sit still for long periods of time without any kind of stimulation. There's a bit of a letting go and detachment that you learn when you practice yoga and meditation. I think that's helping me so much as I go through time, and it helps you learn to stop coming from a place of ego and seeing these things as for example, seeing the practical things of bibs, of food that is all mashed up and not that great, or of diapers or whatever, as just kind of, they are just like physical things that just need to be done to keep the person comfortable and functioning and make things easier. But it doesn't take away from their soul level. It doesn't take away from any of that. This is just the physicality of things going on. And I have to let go of my ego of feeling that those things are offensive for me, or feeling like that is so humiliating for me. It's the person who's going through it, and they are not, as far as we all know and tell, if it's being done in a loving, caring, hygienic way. There's nothing humiliating or sad about these things at all. It's just people being looked after in the way they need to be looked after. Notice I'm not talking about people being abused. I'm not talking about nursing homes that are in disgusting circumstances. And I know that those exist, but I'm not talking about those. I'm just talking about some of the practicalities of dealing with patients that have disabilities or have dementia and Alzheimer's. So a lot of the work that can be done, again, is losing the ego, losing the things that we think are so important, like being able to be independent so you can go to the toilet, or being so independent that you can eat without dribbling all over yourself. Those things may be important to us, but they're not important to the person getting the care. So the ego smash is like the most profound lesson. It's not about me. It's about ensuring that my mother-in-law, my parents, whoever is going to be in a nursing home, is getting love and care, and it's done with a sense of appreciating every single day and finding the absolute joy in the situation. And it's weird. Often, so many times, especially this week, I've spoken to people, to family members and whatever, that think this kind of attitude is, it's really contradictory to the way we often think. We often think, oh, they're in a nursing home, it's so sad, it's so terrible, and stuff like that. But that attitude absolutely doesn't serve anybody. And you notice that it's so contradictory, thinking positively, thinking that this is a time of joy and wonder, and it's just like every other chapter in life. We try to make our way through it. We try our best to find the windows of opportunity of goodness. That it's almost like, whoa, I didn't even think of that way. It's a really whole new concept. I like it too because I think it takes the fear out of the future. If you're going in with the attitude of, whatever happens, we're going to make the best out of it. We're going to be there for each other. This is going to be a good time. This is going to be a holy time. It's going to be a time of wonder. So that is what I have to say about the attitude that will absolutely save your life. And, I dare you to take this attitude into whatever you're doing tomorrow. Whether it is as mundane as anything or whether you're doing something really exciting, to see all the wondrous aspects that you can pull out of your day. Just as I was walking along the beach before I started recording, I was like, I'm going to count all the wondrous things. And I just couldn't even stop counting all the wondrous things that were just, in eye shot of me. We're living every single day is pretty damn incredible. Now, if you like my podcast, can you do me a big favor and go over to iTunes and leave me an honest review? The reviews really help me so much. They help me get noticed by other people. And if you can imagine, if you've gotten value from my podcasts, imagine someone who really needs support right now and hasn't been able to find me. Well, you leaving a review helps just bump me up just that little bit. I don't have a lot of reviews. I appreciate the few that are there. But if you want to do something to support me, that's an amazing thing that you can do. Leave a review on iTunes. All right, my friends, thank you so much for listening. Big gratitude. I'm sending you lots of love. And go have an amazing day full of an attitude of wonder. Bye for now.